Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. Hopefully everyone had a good holiday and Merry Christmas to all, and hopefully you got to spend some quality time with family and friends over the last week. 2022 wasn't the year we would have wanted in the markets, but as today is New Year's Eve, we'll take a look back at what has happened for Cardano in 2022. Also looking into 2023, what looks to be coming down the line. I'll talk personally about my own approach, as well as maybe some changes I might be making here as well. We'll take a look at the overall markets towards the end as well. Timestamps down below as usual. And before I go any further, thank you very much to everyone who has supported the channel here, watching, liking, commenting, supported the stake pool by delegating to it. I really do appreciate the support. Let's jump into it. Okay, so for 2022, we will start out here with the input-output IOG thread that they put out here. I'll leave a link to this one down below. Tim has put together a video here. The full video is on YouTube and it's broken into segments here as well in this thread, talking about different aspects of 2022. They've also put together this essential guide to the ecosystem. We'll take a very quick look through this. I'll pick out some points as my main talking points, and then I've made some bullet points for 2023 and on then as well. We'll jump into them after. So looking at the essential guide to the ecosystem, 53 pages, so I'm only going to touch on certain aspects of this, but I will put a link to this one down below. Tim gives an address to the overall community as well, talking about different parts of the year. We go on then, table of contents, the three entities as well. These are three entities I'd like to try and keep in touch with more over the next year and hopefully be able to get them onto the channel at different stages. I got to talk to Frederick from the Cardano Foundation at the Cardano Summit this year. Cardano Summit was one of my highlights of the year. It was great to get out there and meet so many people in person, both community, projects, and the foundation, and some of the other entities there as well. Emergo. Got to talk to them about their new stablecoin that is going to be coming in early 2023. That's something I think will be very big for Cardano. And then input output as well, the main development behind Cardano. I've seen a bit of a shift in this over the last year in a good way as well, in that the community is getting a lot more involved in this and are having a bigger say in what are the priorities for Cardano, what we actually need. We really seen this when DeFi started to launch on Cardano. Some of the things that were missing there, or that mightn't have had such a high prioritization in the backlog, but when the community spoke and talked that they needed these types of things, IOG were quick to respond and start to put them into the timeline and get them out as well. And I see this as a big focus in 2023, is involving the community a lot more. You'll see as we go through this, there's a lot more tooling and a lot more ways to build on Cardano now that we didn't have a year ago. So governance is going to be a big aspect going forward as well. And it's great to see that input output were open to taking all of that feedback on board as well. The overall timeline of Cardano, if you want to see what has happened over the last few years, you can go through this. I'm not going to go through it here. Why Cardano? Again, Cardano in the numbers. We talk about this on a monthly basis and on every Friday as well. These types of numbers come out. It's good to see where we are overall, with over 3,000 stake pools on Cardano now, really helping with decentralization. Native tokens, 7.2 million. You can see they talk about developers not working on Cardano, or not enough developers, but you see Cardano continuously coming out either in the top 3 or the top project for GitHub activity as well. Look here, you can see 18,000 subscribed to Developer Digest, and you'll see some of the tooling as we go down below as well. Different alliances coming up for Cardano as well. Core research, Cardano education. This is something we've started to see a lot more of this year, and I think over the next 6 to 12 months, we will see a lot more education coming out for Cardano, as well as documentation for building and developing on Cardano. It's something that has really stepped up a gear over the last while, and I think it's something that really is needed, and over the next 6 to 12 months, we'll see a lot more of that as well. The growing ecosystem, you can see the different projects that are building on Cardano, the categories they fall into. And let's skip on down here. Wallets is something that Cardano has in abundance. We have a lot of different options for wallets on Cardano. It's a brilliant thing, and also a bit confusing sometimes for new people coming in, because they ask different people what wallet to use and they can get different suggestions. Or when you look at other chains, it's like you use MetaMask, and that's generally the one you get suggested for a lot for Ethereum anyway, and other chains as well. With Cardano, Ethereum is one, or Eternal is one of the top wallets out there, and this is something I was happy to see. In the pipeline for the next 12 months is V2. I think Eternal, I've covered it in lots of videos, done a full video on it as well. They do so much and allow you to do so much, but sometimes when new people come in, it's a bit confusing when they're used to just having simple options like they do in MetaMask. So V2 will be a really good step there. If they can get something like Flint Wallet is another one that's really good, really simplifies the interface. I've covered it a few times as well. We also have Typhoon is a really good wallet there as well that gives a similar experience to what people might be used to on other chains. Lace, the IOG wallet, is now out on testnet, and we'll see that coming onto mainnet early next year as well. You also have Nami, which was one of the first big wallets for Cardano to really allow interaction with smart contracts and with different dApps out there as well. Daedalus has lost, I would say, a lot of users over the last year, but it still is good to see it part of the stack to have a full node wallet as a backup for people if they want to go back to it. But as people want to interact with dApps more often, they need to move away from Daedalus. For now, in the future, we don't know, maybe there will be dApp connectors for Daedalus as well. I know it has been talked about, but I haven't seen any timelines on release. This is something I mentioned earlier about community built resources and tools. It's great to see alternatives for people building on Cardano to make things easier for builders to come in, because right now, look, Cardano still is harder to build on than most other chains, but it's getting easier as more community dApps are built. More community tooling is built as well. That's a video I would like to do early next year, is get together some of the different projects or companies that have put together tools or put together libraries and that allow you to build on Cardano without knowing Plutus or Haskell, or lots of people still think you have to know all of that. But to talk about the experience of building on Cardano, I think if we could get 5 or 6 of them together on a video, it could be very productive to drill down into the actual development on Cardano. So you can see again more community built resources and tools, and there's a lot more that I've seen as well that aren't even mentioned here, and a lot more that allow you to build on Cardano using different languages and not just Plutus. Moving on then, we have DEXs. So DEXs were the first big dApps we seen building on Cardano. 2022 we thought we'd see a lot more dApps, but 2023 looks to be that time frame now. For 2022, we've seen DEXs leading the way in terms of bringing bigger volume in. MusiSwap had their order book DEX, but SundaeSwap really, I suppose, opened the floodgates. They were the first to pioneer with an AMM DEX. They knew launching themselves that the Cardano chain hadn't seen anything like this. So I suppose it was a learning experience for them, for IOG, and for other dApps watching from the sidelines as well, because there was issues on all sides. SundaeSwap, Cardano struggled with the sheer volume that was trying to come in, and wallet providers as well had never seen that type of volume. So lots of different dApps, I would say, learned from that and were able to improve on their own launch as well. MinSwap came out then as well and are the number one DEX right now on Cardano in terms of TVL. And these guys have continually brought out new features. When the community requests something, they are always trying to build features to really help with the community, and you can see governance is something they're really looking to focus on in 2023. I think overall with Cardano, governance will be a bigger factor in 2023. Wing Riders as well, really solid technical DEX there as well. I think they fall second behind MinSwap now in terms of TVL. Genius Yield looking to come out. Also one that I'm looking forward to seeing is Axo coming out next year as well. We've talked to Yarrick on the channel. Hopefully I'll bring him on again next year as well to see where they are, and some of the features they're looking to bring out could really revolutionize a lot of the trading that's out there. So moving on then to NFTs, and NFTs has really exploded over the last year. I suppose even just before that, they were really big on Cardano. And what you notice within this is there are some very large communities within the NFT space, so behind different projects. And I've noticed over the last few months that people really have moved away from 10k drops of just random images and they don't do anything. Everybody now is starting to look into the utility or what is behind it. What are the communities that people are starting to build behind their projects? So I'll be very interested to see how that is going forward. Over the next year, I think people are really starting to look at what are the projects starting to do. We see metaverses as well launching NFTs, and I think 2023 definitely is the year that we have to see something out of all of these projects as well. I'm not going to go through individual names because I'll forget some, or some people won't like that I talk about their project, or some will say, why didn't you talk about mine when you talked about X? So we won't mention individual ones up here, but NFTs here, with looking beyond, as they say here, beyond the creator collections. These are some of the ones that are trying to break ground there. Ada Handle is one where you can mint an NFT, and then, so if you want to send funds, you don't have to know someone's full address, because they are a long address and it's hard to sometimes know them. But if you look at the likes of me, I own the Ada Handle Paul. So if you wanted to send something to my wallet, then all you have to do is, within some of the wallets that support Ada Handle, which right now is most of the top Cardano wallets, you would just need to put in Paul, and then you will be able to send anything to my wallet. You don't have to know the exact wallet address. New, another project, met some of them at the Cardano Summit, and I'll be bringing them on the channel fairly soon as well to talk about what they're doing. They're looking to really make a dent in the music industry, book.io as well, trying to do something a bit different. Projects that I need to talk to over the next few months. NFT marketplaces, we've seen JPEG Store become the number one exchange, or number one NFT exchange on Cardano. And something that I noticed down here that I'm really looking forward to seeing is that, well, NFT auctions, yes, that would be nice, but collection and trait based offers is something they're looking to bring in the next 12 months. And when I talked to Alexander from Gucci there probably just a month ago now when they were launching, we talked a lot about this, where people look at the floor price of NFTs, but what we really need to do is look at what are the offers, what are people willing to spend on the NFTs, because the floor price is what people are willing to sell for, but the real value is what people are willing to spend. So hopefully when I'm looking back in another year's time, so at the end of 2023, we'll be looking at that people talk more about what is the offer prices rather than what the floor prices are. Again, touched on metaverses there. A lot building on Cardano. It'll be very interesting to see over 2023 what comes to the front and which ones actually start to get the audience, because it's not easy to build a metaverse from everything that I've seen and talking to different projects, but building a solid community and a solid user base is going to be a big part of this as well. And Cardano overall, like in the bigger picture, we only have a small percentage of people in here. So you need to be looking at outside of Cardano, even outside of crypto, they're the types of people you need to bring in to make these types of metaverses and games, make them viable in the longer term picture. So again, will be interesting to see where we go there. Data explorers, lots of really good options on Cardano. Again, most are, or all of these actually are community driven. Tap tools, really good from a price perspective if you want to dive into a project. One that I don't see there is Sea Explorer. It's one I use all the time as well. EUTXO is great for visualizing the blockchain. Cardano Insights, that's one I show in a lot of different videos that shows kind of what's actually going on chain in terms of stats. Next, we have more projects. Again, I'm not going to get into individual projects. Lending and borrowing is something I'm really looking forward to seeing launch on Cardano throughout, hopefully not too far into 2023. Identity solutions, I'll talk about these when I get into 2023. Again, we'll talk about that layer 2, because that's something I think will be big going forward. And that's kind of it, really. Cardano in Africa, actually, we heard a lot about this, not even this year, but in 2021, and I got to talk to John O'Connor at the Cardano Summit. It was great to hear about what they're actually building on the ground and how close they are. He's someone I'd like to bring on, hopefully again early in 2023, to talk about what's actually going on the ground and some of the what they class as Realfi stuff that they are doing there as well. World Mobile, one, I will be spinning up a World Mobile Earth node. Hear a lot about World Mobile lately, and it's great to see them really pushing to hit the targets. Testnet came out yesterday. A few people are on it. I'm not on it yet, but hopefully in the next week or two, I'll be able to get in and mess around there as well and get a video out talking about how it's looking. So going on a bit on 2022. So we'll move on then to what I see in 2023 and my own personal approach then as well. Okay, so looking into 2023 then, ecosystem growth, where I'm looking to see the growth in this sector is in DeFi. Thought we might see a bit more in 2022, but 2023 looks to be the year now, especially around money markets. where we have lending and borrowing. Stable coins as well is something that I think will be big. Obviously, we had Indigo launch a few weeks ago, really breaking down boundaries again for what's possible on Cardano with some of the features they've implemented. They also have IUSD, so it's great to see that, and I know they're working on lots more stuff for 2023. You have the likes of Liquid, Meld, Axo is a DEX that I'm really looking forward to seeing launch with the different variations of trading they're going to bring there as well. Realfi, so people can ask what's going on in Africa and putting DeFi into the real world as Realfi, so World Mobile. The mainnet, hopefully we'll see that in early 2021. Testnet is out now. Generally that would have to run for a month or 2 months at least to make sure there's no bugs in it and get that out. Might see it by the end of Q1, would be nice, but we'll see what comes there. Also, I talked about John O'Connor earlier. I'd like to bring him on to talk about what they're doing in Africa and the real world loans that are going on there as well. Identity solutions I think are going to get bigger and bigger as we move on. So DIDs, decentralized IDs, that it's something we see different projects building on Cardano in this sector. We have Atala Prism, but it's not the only one there as well. So throughout 2023, I think this is an area to keep an eye on as well. So sidechains then, so we heard at Scottfest that sidechains is going to be a big part of Cardano's future, with Midnight being the privacy focused one. It's not going to be a privacy coin, but it's going to be a privacy focused sidechain. We also have Milkomeda as an L2. And they've been around for a while now. DC Spark are behind Milkomeda. They do a lot within the Cardano ecosystem and they're working on a lot of different things. So hopefully actually that would be another good video to bring in the next month or so if I can, with Sebastian and Nico, because they have a lot of good technical knowledge about what's going on with Cardano, and I'd like to get their perspective on where we are now versus where we were a few months ago when I had Sebastian on, and also hear about roll-ups and the differences with Layer 2 sidechains and where Cardano looks to be focused going forward. NFTs, talked a bit about this already, and I think it's time now to see what is the evolution of NFTs, NFT projects, what ones are going to really stand out. I think there are going to be lots of use cases out there that we mightn't even know about yet. We've seen things with Ada Handle and Book.io coming out with alternative uses for NFTs, identity solutions using NFTs as well, that you can have the NFT in your wallet that can verify your ID. So there's lots of different areas out there, as well as the metaverses and different projects that are building on Cardano as well. Governance and community input. Governance is going to be something very big for 2023, with Voltaire being worked on, as well as the community input part is kind of about the community having more say on what gets built on top of Cardano. So personally, I'd like to get a bit more structure on the channel here. Cardano catch-ups every Friday, and that will be where I do the updates on Cardano, looking back at the week, what are the main events that have happened. Every Thursday, I'll put out a thread on Twitter, so if you have anything you want included, make sure you try and add it in there. But I will be watching the community all throughout the week anyway, looking for updates. Might even set a set time on that so people know that 3 o'clock on a Friday or whatever it is that it's going to come out. Won't be out next Friday because I'm away for a few days with the family next week, but getting back into things then the following week. Weekly live streams will start with Paddy from Shamrock Stake Pool as well. We done one 2 weeks ago now. Went down fairly well, so what we will look to do is bring in people from the ecosystem to talk about what's going on, and I don't mean individual projects. This will be more talking about the overall ecosystem, what's going on, maybe even looking outside of Cardano some weeks as well to get perspective of the overall cryptocurrency or the overall cryptocurrency space as well. Cardano Stake Pool is going to continue. Nothing is changing there. I will be starting up the World Mobile Earth node fairly soon as well, hopefully onto testnet in the next week or two, and then into mainnet then whenever that launches as well. So another area that I'm considering getting involved in is maybe getting involved with a project or two or a company, or I don't really know. It's an area I'm going to look into more when I come back from being away with the family next week. And right now I'm not associated with any companies at all, and it might continue going that way, but it's something I want to look into and see, is there something there? Because bear markets can be boring. I'd love to have a focus where I know that a set amount of hours goes into something every day or every week or whatever way it works. We'll see what types of opportunities are out there. Again, full transparency will be here on the channel. If I am connected to any going forward, you can be sure that I will be talking about it here. And look, a bit of extra income to DCA into the current markets and what is to come wouldn't be too bad. So on that then, we'll take a very quick look at the market before we finish up. So market outlook for 2023, DCA is your friend. Lots of people will tell you it's going here, it's going there. DCA is always a good strategy, both in and out of the market. So right now, people are saying it's the bottom. I'm not convinced we're at the bottom just yet. If you look at the 4-year cycle, which we'll take a look at in a minute, but I'll do a full video on that one fairly soon. Looking at the 4-year cycle, halving will be in May 2024 for Bitcoin. Cardano has kind of the same effect, but we do it every single epoch. Every epoch, the emissions go down by a small amount because the fund that is paying out for staking rewards and into the treasury gets slightly smaller every epoch, where Bitcoin does it every 4 years. So right now, according to that, we are near the bottom. The next few months would be accumulation, so not a huge amount of movement within the price. The other consideration though is that Bitcoin hasn't gone through these macro events before. We'll take a quick look at the 4-year cycles. We'll close it up then, and I'll do a video on that fairly soon as well to look a bit deeper into it as well. So if you look here, you can see the different halving events have been highlighted here. So blue is the previous halving events for Bitcoin, and you can see that Bitcoin really does move in cycles. I'm using Bitcoin because generally that drives the rest of the market. Where Bitcoin goes, so the rest of the market generally follows, and they are the trends that we get into. So if you look back here, you can see that generally we have the accumulation, then we have the bull run after the halving. Again, back in 16, the halving in July 16, you can see we had our bear market back here in 13, 14. Then coming into 15, we had accumulation. As we got the halving, then the bull market really started to kick in. Again, bear market pulling back down. We had accumulation along here, you would say. This year was 2020, where we had COVID and the big drop for it. And then after the halving, things really kicked off again. So right now, you would say, based on the previous timelines, we are coming close to the bottom if we're not at it already. So in summary, we mightn't have just hit the bottom for the crypto markets yet. DCA is always a good option. And going by these cycles, if we haven't hit the bottom yet, we should be getting very close before getting into accumulation. We haven't hit all these macro events that are ongoing in the world right now. Bitcoin hasn't gone through them just yet. Interest rate hikes don't look to be over just yet. So the next few months, probably more interest rate hikes aren't going to give us much growth in the crypto markets. But as the year goes on, hopefully we do find our bottom, get into accumulation, and start to get out of this overall downtrend. I do believe that ADA, Bitcoin, all of the bigger coins will hit new all-time highs, not this year, but hit them in the next cycle as well, which looks to be late 2024, 2025 at this point. Remember everything that's going on now, so that when we do get into the next cycles, there's lots of lessons learned to both DCA into the market in these times and DCA out of the market when it is on the way up as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy New Year. I do hope you got some value from this and from the channel in general throughout the year. Look forward to putting out a lot more content over the next few years as well. Thanks for the support. Talk to you soon.